She didn't believe in herself, but her steps believed for her. Have you ever felt that way? Stuck, invisible, almost a ghost in your own life? That was Nora. For years, she was the quiet one in the corner, the name people forgot, the person whose own reflection seemed like a stranger. Her world felt small, confined by walls of insecurity and self. The future looked like a long, grey road, exactly the same as today, yesterday, and the day before. She didn't dream of grand escapes or dramatic transformations. Honestly, she didn't dream much at all. The very idea of believing in herself felt like a language she couldn't speak. One day, out of a quiet desperation she couldn't even name, she decided to do something. Anything. It wasn't a big, life-altering decision. It was a whisper of a choice. She bought a simple notebook and wrote down one sentence about her day. The next morning, she put on her old sneakers and walked to the end of her street and back. These weren't goals, they were just actions. Tiny, almost insignificant movements in the stillness of her life. She didn't feel a spark of inspiration. She didn't feel a sudden surge of motivation. She just did it. And the next day, she did it again. Journaling a few lines. Walking a little bit further, just to the next lamppost. Weeks turned into months. Nora didn't see a change in the mirror. She still felt like the same quiet, insecure person. But something funny was happening around her. Her journal entries were no longer just one sentence. They were paragraphs filled with observations, thoughts, and sometimes even ideas. Her walks grew longer, not because she was forcing herself, but because she started to enjoy the feeling of the morning air and the rhythm of her own feet on the pavement. She set a small goal, to read one book a month. Then, to try a new recipe every week. Each step was so small, it felt almost silly to call it progress. There was no finish line, no cheering crowd. Just her, and these tiny, consistent actions. What Nora didn't realize was that these steps were building a foundation beneath her feet. While she wasn't looking, they were quietly rewriting her story. At work, a colleague noticed her detailed notes from a meeting, a habit she'd picked up from her journaling. Asked her to collaborate on a new project. At first, her old voice screamed, "No, you can't do that." But a new, quieter voice, a voice that had been strengthened by thousands of small steps, whispered, "Why not try?" So she said yes. The project was a success. People started to not just see Nora, but to listen to her. Her world began to expand in other ways too. Her weekend walks had taken her to parts of her city she'd never seen before. She discovered a small community garden, and, on a whim, volunteered. There, she met people who shared her quiet love for growing things. They didn't see her as quiet, insecure Nora. They saw her as the person who knew how to care for tomato plants, the one who always had a kind word. For the first time, she wasn't defined by what she lacked, but by what she did. Her confidence wasn't a lightning strike. It was more like a slow dawn. It wasn't about suddenly believing she could conquer the world. It was the quiet assurance that she could handle the next small step. She learned a new skill online. She took a weekend trip by herself. She started conversations instead of waiting for them. Each action was a single thread, but woven together, they were creating a vibrant, strong tapestry. One evening, about 2 years after she first picked up that journal, Nora was sitting in her apartment. It looked different now. The walls were painted a warm, cheerful color she'd chosen. Bookshelves were overflowing. Pictures from her trip from the garden were on the walls. Her phone buzzed with a message from a friend, making plans for the weekend. She looked around at this life, a life filled with connection, purpose, and a quiet, steady joy. and she whispered to herself, "I can't believe this all started with just walking to the end of the street." She finally understood. She didn't have to believe in herself to start. Her steps did the believing for her. Each tiny, seemingly insignificant action was a vote of confidence, a declaration that she was worth the effort. It's a profound truth we often overlook. We wait for the perfect moment, for the bolt of inspiration, for the unwavering self-belief before we take the first step. But the magic isn't in the belief. It's in the step itself. Never, ever underestimate the power of a small beginning. That one sentence you write, that 10-minute walk, that one page you read, that one healthy meal you choose. They seem like nothing. They feel like nothing. But they are the seeds of miracles. They are the architects of a future you can't yet see. Your life isn't changed by one giant leap. It's transformed by 1,000 tiny steps, taken consistently, day after day. So, if you're feeling stuck today, don't worry about believing in yourself. Just pick one small thing, one tiny step, and take it, and then take another tomorrow. Your steps will believe for you, until one day you look around and realize you believe too. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more content that we hope can inspire your own journey. We'll see you in the next video.